Welcome to our lecture one in AI marketing. So our first lecture basically is about the foundations of success and academic integrity. So by the time we're done with this session, students must be able to define what plagiarism is and the consequences in this course. You'll also be able to identify the acceptable and unacceptable forms of communication with faculty, advisors, or peers. You must also recall the key grading policies, including plagiarism, the threshold, and resubmission rules. You must be able to understand the role of anti-plagiarism and how to make resubmissions if possible. So you must recognize your responsibility under the university's code of conduct. So let's start by understanding the first principle of what plagiarism is. So plagiarism is actually presenting somebody else's work, their ideas, their words, claiming them as your own without proper acknowledgement. And this includes you copying from the book, copying from an article, a website, or another student's work. So paraphrasing too without citation is also tantamount to plagiarism. Reusing somebody else's work from the previous course, the students that would want to use somebody else's dissertation, all that is that amount to what we call plagiarism. Even your own work from your previous course without permission is also plagiarism. Using AI-generated content. Now that we're looking at AI, you must understand that this course is uh, within the parameters of AI usage. So you must be able to control yourselves as you'll be using AI tools. So all that is that amount to plagiarism. Okay, so we do we have any questions regarding what plagiarism is? If we don't have any questions, we can go to our next segment. Okay, so let's look at now the golden rule here is that anything that is written without any original thought must actually be sourced. You must reference it. Okay, the words, information, ideas that are not originally yours, all these must cite their sources clearly. Why does academic integrity matter? Academic integrity matters for many reasons. Number one, it maintains fairness for all um, students. Academic integrity, by definition, simply means being honest and responsible in your academic work. It is important for fairness because everyone is graded based on their own effort. It is also important for reputation because it will protect the value of your degree from institutions like the Copperbelt University. It also matters for skills development. So it will help you learn research, writing, and critical thinking. It also is important for professional ethics. It prepares you to be honest and trustworthy in your future career. So in short, integrity builds trust, credibility, and competence. So we want to have graduates who are ethically responsible. So let's go to the 30% rule. In this course, you must understand that other institutions have their own threshold, 20%, but for this, our rule will be the 30% rule. So anything below 30% will be unacceptable. Anything above 30% is an automatic zero. Okay, so are there any questions at this point? I repeat, the 30% rule is important to understand that this threshold is different from institution to institution. So for our course, below 30 is unacceptable, especially if sources are poorly cited. Above 30, um, I said below 30, if you get similarity below 30, that is what we are accept, especially if your citations are acceptable. If your similarity index is more than 30%, that is an automatic zero in your assignment. So if you have repeated offenses, you risk failing the course or being expelled. So even if sources are listed, it's important to note that high similarity shows that you have relied on other people's work instead of your original thinking. Also, resubmitting work is not guaranteed. It depends on the lecturer. If the lecturer will agree that you submit, well and good. So now, how is plagiarism detected? Plagiarism is detected in many ways. So we have what are called anti-plagiarism software that are used to check your assignments. So your work will be compared with past students' assignments from your school or partner institutions, academic journals or books or websites, or even online databases. So this system highlights the matches, but the lecturers would only see the similarity, not personal details of the other students. So now why is the 30% threshold considered failing? Why is the 30% considered failing? For many reasons. Number one, if sources are cited and there's high similarity, it means there's too much work that is not original. It means the student has not demonstrated enough understanding. It means the assignment lacks independent thinking and analysis. So universities expect you to read and understand the sources. So spend time reading, rewrite your ideas in your own words, and add your own analysis and explanations. So it's very important to understand plagiarism is, in short, using other people's work without credit. You should always cite your work and ensure that your similarity is below 30%, and academic integrity is very important in this course. Okay, so this is very important. So we look at our communication protocols that we use. What are some of the communication protocols that we use for this course? So by now, I'm sure all of you have access to your Astra Learning platform. So to succeed in this course, it's important to use the right communication channel for right use. So we have the approved methods. So we have the e-learning inbox where questions about your assignments or course will be brought in and you're expected to respond within 48 hours. So make sure you keep checking your inboxes. You also have an academic advisor who will handle your personal issues like fees and registration. You record by your academic advisors, and the expected response time depends on what time you'll be given. We also have a discussion forum where questions for the whole class will be brought, and responses will be expected from peers and from the lecturer. So your friends will ask you questions and you will need to answer them. Then we also have the other channel, though informal, WhatsApp. It's for personal use only. For social interaction, this will not be counted as an official uh, platform. So what is strictly prohibited? So do not use WhatsApp, do not use Telegram or Facebook or similar platforms to discuss this course content. Okay? We do not expect you to use any of those platforms to discuss the course content, the assignments or deadlines or grades or complaints or exam questions. So if we see or hear any of you using such, these are unofficial platforms. It's that amount to expulsion. And because they may lead to wrong information and plagiarism risks, and some students um, being left out or breaking academic rules, we do not want this course to be um, publicized in terms of the leak of the information that we have. And what are some of the correct ways that you will be advised to raise issues and concerns? So you need to follow a simple guide. You need to use a course question. You use a discussion forum or inbox. You use your personal issue. You can contact your advisor. If there's a technical problem, you use the LMS help desk or IT department will respond to you. Examples of situations, for instance, you don't understand the assignment. Your correct channel basically will be to inbox. There's a message platform you can ask on WhatsApp. That is the wrong way. The correct way is you inbox using your platform. If you need an extension, you can message your professor early if you've got a bereavement or a problem. Do not post on social media. And also, if you're struggling academically, you need to contact your advisor. Don't complain in the group chat. These are clear. So these are some of the ways that we are going to interact. The third part that you need to understand is the grading and deadlines. So the passing rate, the minimum is a C. If you get anything less than that, it's a total fail. You repeat and pay again. You must also understand that um, for you to qualify to get this assessment, you must pass all these assignments and discussions. It's important that the final paper is compulsory. You do not have to resubmit. When you fail, you fail. Late submissions, all work must be submitted on time. Any late submissions may accrue penalties and maximum be deducted each day until you get zero after the deadline. So there are no late discussions that will be accepted. So ensure that you go into your discussion forum and submit early enough. So what are some of your responsibilities as a student? So you have some of your responsibility as a student at the Copperbelt University. So your students, you're expected to be honest, not cheating, no plagiarism. You must communicate respectfully. You must submit your work on time. You must use the university systems properly, and it is your responsibility to read and understand the assignments. We also have technological requirements. In terms of technological requirements, um, you must be able to have reliable internet. You must have a computer or device. You must have ability to use the learning platform, the LMS. You must also have backup plan in case of any technical issues. Saying internet failed is usually unaccepted. This we see from many students, and this is not going to be accepted. Open communication. In terms of open communication, you must maintain uh, must communicate early and respectful with your lecturer and your advisor. You must ask for help before the deadline passes. So you must also use official channels only for academic matters. You need to meet all the deadlines, you must follow university rules and integrity standards and be responsive and proactive. So that is our expectations from you, right? Then the final part regarding acknowledgement, final acknowledgement. So you must, after completing this questionnaire or the first quiz, agreeing yes, it means you've accepted. Um, to number one, submit your original work. Number two, to accept a zero mark if plagiarism is more than 30. Number four, to use only approved channels, be it inbox, the forum, and advisor. Number four, to avoid WhatsApp or informal WhatsApp chats for academic discussions. So you need to meet all the deadlines and follow the late submission policy. You need to pass all your coursework before attempting the final assessments. You must follow the rules by the Copperbelt University. Not only the rules as an excuse, you must also be fully responsible for them. Are we together? So let's look at self-assessment. In terms of self-assessment, true or false? A 20% plagiarism score is acceptable if sources are cited. That is true as long as proper referencing is done. What do you do if a question, if you have a question about an assignment, you need to inbox your lecturer using the e-learning? Can you create a WhatsApp group where course discussion and why no, you're not allowed because it can lead to misinformation and this is a violation. What happens if you fail a course? You must repeat it and pay again and pass. Do you contact, who do you contact about enrollment fees? You have your academic advisor. So the reminders here are number one, integrity means you're doing the right thing even when no one is watching. So in this course, the systems will check your work, but more importantly, your discipline is what's important. Okay, for your future career, this is yours. Follow the rules from day one and avoid problems later on. Are we together? Is that clear? So our next session, we'll look at navigating LMS and submitting your first assignment. Thank you so much for your time. Have a good day.